Instructions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, today with me is our board chair, J.D. Elliott. J.D.'s been on the board for many years and has been a fantastic chairman now, I think for 3 or 4, this is the 3rd year that you've been the chairman. In the audience, we have Monica Faulknesson, who is our Director of Administration. She's been with the department for many years and does a fantastic job every day. Joined beside her in the audience is Sean Henry, another familiar face, I'm sure, to the council and many others. He is the COO and president of the arena. On his way from LP Field is Walter Overton, as everyone can imagine, with the CMAs. He's juggling several different things, but he is attempting to get here and texted me about 5 minutes ago to indicate that he was on his way.
All right, our standard opening question, Mr. Compton, can you operate within the mayor's proposed budget?
Yes.
Do you have any opening remarks?
Yes, I do. I'll keep them rather brief to get into the question and answer period, but just a couple quick things. Just in the last 60 days, our facilities have hosted the Women's Final Four, the Country Music Marathon, and many activities around that, the Good Guys Car Show, and obviously right now the CMAs. Last night, anybody that got a chance to tune in to the Country Music Television channel got to see a fantastic awards program that they put on over there. And obviously tonight begins the several night stand over at LP Field. So we've been very active. Last year alone, we had 3 million visitors to the 2 facilities that we have right now. And just another quick highlight, you know, Sean and I were talking, they do such a fantastic job, he and his staff and all of their employees. They had a $410 million economic impact for the city last year alone. When you think about what they're doing every day to fill the venue, not only with ice hockey, but with all the concerts and all the many other good things, the arena is performing fabulously. Just last year, the upgrades were completed on the back of the arena, on the Demonbrium side of the arena that faces the convention center, which is a nice compliment. For anyone who hasn't been to Tavern 96, the new venue in the back there, the little restaurant and refreshment area in the back of the arena, it's a fantastic place to go and take in something before maybe a show or a hockey game. LP Field continues to perform well. The Titans are doing a great job. You know, the Titans and TSU continue to play there. We're anticipating TSU to play more games at the field this year than last year, and we're waiting on a few updates on that. Already they've announced a fantastic show, One Direction. I'm not familiar with them, but they're a big band out there, and we anticipate that a little later this summer that LP Field will once again be active just before the football season. Just quick comments on 2 projects that we have going forward right now that currently they're not in our kind of in our arsenal of facilities, but they will be before long. One is the ice hockey facility that's in southeastern Davidson County. It continues to be on track. We anticipate that the Predators will be moving into the facility sometime in August, and we hope that sometime in September that we're going to be having some groundbreaking, some festivities to cut the ribbons out there and things of that nature. Baseball, of course, is a big one. This council voted just at the end of last year, and things are on track already over there. Anybody that's gone by will notice that the substantial piece of the excavation is complete. The caissons have been installed. There are many cranes over there and a lot of activity, so we're certainly excited about that. So we've had great performance in the 2 facilities and venues that we have now, and we're looking forward to adding 2 in this coming year. And Mr. Chairman, I think with that, I'll turn it over for any questions and answers. I think things are going well.
Thank you. Councilman Claiborne is first in the queue.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I have a question. It's not necessarily about your budget, but about one of your new facilities. There's been some news articles recently about the artifacts at Salt Town and what is being done to either preserve or not preserve that. what's the situation there? I mean, all we read is what's in the paper, so...
Sure. No, it's an excellent question, and really some fascinating history of our city. So the artifacts that were found date between 1300 and 1400 BC. What was found were several... everyone probably here knows, we've talked about it quite a bit last fall with the history of the site. This is where the Great Salt Lick was, and the creek that went through there. They used these fire pits, some areas, to basically evaporate the water and collect the salt and minerals in that area. And so there was a fairly small area where they discovered these almost at the very bottom of the excavation. There's just really a few inches left before the bottom of the playing surface. So we had a project archaeologist on staff who was there the whole time to oversee this. He has been working closely with the state archaeologist, and they have collected a lot of the materials there and will study those. Rich and I have talked with the project team pretty extensively. We're in the process of finding a way to appropriately recognize those finds. We have worked with some of the Native American groups and some of the others who have expressed interest in this. We're also, in the coming weeks, we'll be meeting with some of those groups as well as some of the groups in town who are interested in archaeology and preservation. And I would venture to say that we will find a way in the stadium to commemorate those things and give them proper recognition.
So will the goal to have this facility opening by opening day 15 impede the proper treatment of these ruins?
Well, we don't think so. The state has cleared us. I mean, the state's very interested in these sorts of finds, and the state has cleared us to move forward. As we did the excavation, what they basically did was they had separate sectors, if you will, and we were able to, in the sectors that weren't affected, we were able to continue moving along, protecting the one where the find was. The archaeologists were down there probably for the better part of a week and a half to 2 weeks, collecting materials, doing the proper reporting and things of that nature. So we don't think we're going to be losing any things. There weren't any, to be very clear, there were not any human remains found, and there were also not any graves found. There were some animal bones, there were some shells, and some pottery shards.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
The area is going to be preserved, so it's nothing's going to be damaged, so.
You on?
No, I am. The area is being preserved so that there's no damage going to be done to it as if nothing had ever been constructed there. So 200 years from now, if someone wants to undo that area, it'll be just like it was today. That's not going to be done. But there wasn't any finding there that would justify stopping the project or moving forward with it. I mean, we're very sensitive to the Native American concerns, and that's why we think it's very important that we continue to meet with the group, which the meeting has been set up for next week or the week after, and that I think the plan is to have a tribute to the land, the history of the land, flow into the Greenway and into the project itself, so that for generations, people going to the ballpark or visit the Bicentennial Mall or wherever will know that there's a history there besides just the ballpark, and history goes back to the Native Americans and then carries that on through into the modern era when they played ball there in the early 1900s all the way up into the present time. So we think that is the proper way to do it and preserve the site for eternity, essentially.
Council Lady Moore.
Thank you. Mr. Compton, you had mentioned something about 3 million visitors. Was this for the CMA Fest, or which one? You had talked about 3 million visitors over... You had mentioned a number, 3 million visitors.
No, I was just suggesting that approximately 3 million people had visited our venues in the last year.
In the last year?
Yes.
And is this by ticket sales?
Yes.
Oh, by ticket sales only. Okay. Do you all ever do a count like at LP Field, or just based on ticket sales?
Well, they'll always, for events and the predators, they'll always count the attendance at events.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. I have no one else in the queue. The chair does have a question. Oh, Councilman Bedney.
Sorry, I digress. I wanted to ask you, Mr. Compton, if we can do things to encourage more, actually, not, let me rephrase. There's a lot of interest in soccer in Nashville, both from the native borns and the people have been born outside. What can the authority do to work with that and try to give it a venue and opportunity for people to come to downtown and watch these soccer games? And actually, there is a World Cup, and so I was wondering if there's anything we can do in Nashville to open up some place for people to come together and watch the final game.
Well, we could certainly discuss that. I think soccer is very interesting. It's done very well at LP Field, and Walter Overton, I saw him come in. I know he's been very busy, and they've had several very successful soccer activities and tournaments at the field over time. Monica and I are meeting with one of the local soccer organizations that wishes to kind of bring some of the professional soccer to town. We're meeting with them. They asked for a meeting to kind of determine, what the Sports Authority does, and they want to share some information. And we certainly hope that we can continue to promote that and find some ways to kind of elevate soccer in town.
Thank you.
Councilman Dominy.
Thank you, Charles, in charge. I had a question. First, I want to comment about the Predators facility out in southeast Nashville. A lot of folks out there are excited about that coming in. Looking forward to being there. I want to follow up briefly on the soccer issue that Councilman Bedney has brought up, and I would encourage you to come out and visit with me an indoor soccer facility here in the 28th Council District that's been opened earlier this year. It's been a huge hit and got people coming from Franklin and Shelbyville to play there. It's a fabulous facility. Also, I did want to point out on the issue with the ballpark that's being done. I think my colleague from the 33rd Council District, Councilman Robert Duvall, mentioned when we were discussing this, what if there's a ancient Indian burial ground under that facility, and he was laughed at. But now it's maybe not necessarily a laughing matter. But I'm excited that we're making progress there and look forward to appropriately recognizing what's taken place on that site for many, many years.
Thank you, and I do want to recognize Walter Overton's here. Walter obviously has been working at LP Field, and he's huffing and puffing like he just set up about 10,000 chairs. I haven't seen him huff and puff like that since he was running the option at Vanderbilt years ago. So, Mr. Henry, I have a question for you, if you could step forward to the lectern, please, sir. And for you and Toby, there's been a lot of interest of Nashville potentially hosting an NHL All-Star game, and wondering specifically if there anything the city or this body of the council could do to help further those efforts.
We're very hopeful.
Hold on.
We're very hopeful that we're going to secure All-Star game. I think with the opening of the convention center, the Omni Hotel, the news of the new hotels, we're pretty optimistic that we're going to have one in the very near future. We just finished the bid package for an indeterminate year, but potentially 16, 17, 18, or 19. We submitted it, I think, this week, and we should be hearing some positive news, I think, in the next few weeks.
That is super to hear. Thank you.
It really is. It's great news.
All right, Toby, thank you, and Mr. Elliott for being here. And it's time for Mr. Oliver and the library staff.